Well, obviously we're in the middle of a really awesome season. There's a lot kind of shifting and changing. Part of that has to do with you and I getting married. It's been like 10 weeks of marriage. Stephanie's like 43 days away from getting married. It's a really exciting season. The church is launching a podcast. We've launched an EP. So there's just a lot going on. And I thought we should just get together and talk about some of the other changes going on really in our season of life, in the leadership, and of the young adult ministry. Because a lot of people might be asking, like, why are you kind of making the shift from the weekly service environment to more of the connect group environment with events and stuff like that? And the truth is, we're doing it because we feel it's right. It's the next step. We feel this is the right change to make, the right place to go. You can't keep running on that same like hamster wheel all the time. And I think we can all acknowledge that the world changed. The last year, it's different. And so I just thought we would talk about that because I'm really excited for this next season of our ministry, of how, we as a team, bringing Stephanie in a whole lot more, bringing my wife in a whole lot more. We've been talking about how, man, we just she's the gifting that I did not have leading this whole time as a single guy. So it's a really exciting time as we get to do things we've never done before. So I'm really excited about it. I know we've talked about it. You're excited. And so I thought we'd just share that excitement today as we just shift.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about everything going on?
I think that the change it's the perfect timing to step into this because I said it before, our generation and our culture, it shifts like every day. There's new platforms to go on. There's new content to create. There's new trends going on, new music, new artists, new everything. And it's this ever-shifting culture that we have to keep up with. And instead of us having to keep up with it, I think that our church, we've done such a good job of sticking to our calling, which is merely relationship. We even tried to get rid of that logo years ago, and then it just came back up naturally amongst all of us, and we infiltrated it back into our church. So to fit this or to give back to this crazy culture, we need to bring relationships. And every Sunday we push that from the stage. We push it in the lobby. We push it in our ministries. Pastors speak about it all the time, relationships. But how do we, having to feed this young adult culture, how do we bring that relationship? And honestly, connect groups, small groups, one-on-one meetings, that's the way to do it nowadays. It's the way to do it. Because you can hide when you're in a big crowd, but you can't hide when you're in a group. And that's
a smaller group. And I think what's also so great about it is I have my own personal experience with how great it is. I had a small group or a young adult group probably 2 years ago, and I was leading it, and I had all these girls come over to my house. I had around 12 to 13 girls come over, and we were going through a book together about hearing the voice of God. And I met around 3 to 4 girls that were brand new to the church in that small group at my house, in my own home. Sometimes we were at my house, sometimes we went to a restaurant or a coffee shop, but I'm still close to those girls to this day. And what we gained in 6 months as a small group, even 4 months, was twice as much as what I gained in 1 year of what we regularly do. So I feel like this is just God's way of taking us from glory to glory with our young adult ministry. Yeah. Because we figured out the relationship thing. So we figured it out. We really like each other on Monday. We enjoy each other's company. We love listening to our pastors, and we love our church. So how do we narrow that down and really do what works? And I think small groups is the way to go. Yeah. That's where God has chosen us to go. Well, you were saying it earlier, my wife. You were saying it earlier about it really allows us to be intentional about the things that we feel we need to do.
Yeah.
Talk about that some more.
I think it's because there's change. Like you were saying, culture changes, everybody changes, but we're also growing. Mm-hmm. Like we're not just, even after COVID, we saw a lot of people came back.
Yeah.
So with that, we saw growth. And we didn't only see it in the numbers, but we saw it in the individual person, the growth that they had. So when you have more people coming and people are growing even more, now we have to say we have to be intentional about taking care of these people, and how do we let them grow even more. And we love their services because we grow, but we get great services on Sundays. But now that to minister specifically to the young adults, having a setting where you can get with 6 girls and learn about something that you really need help with. A few years ago, I did a connect group on prayer, and we've always prayed from the platform. We've had prayer that we go up, but I never understood the power of prayer until I was in a small group, and all we talked about was prayer. And then I was able to go in my own personal life and pray even more confidently after that. And that's not something that I learned from a Monday night, but it's something that I learned from a connect group. So I even see how this is going to give the opportunity to some of our young adults to say, we can grow on our prayer. We can grow on understanding some other things that we have. So this is a chance for more growth.
Absolutely. You know, it was around the same time, remember, Steph, that I had an apartment for a year. It's kind of the lost year. I lived alone for a year. First time I, was able, in my city, went up with a job, to not live with my parents. And yet my best memories were when I led a connect group. And I had all the guys come over to the house. And just about all those guys are still in our lives right now. Half of them run half the church on a volunteer basis. And I remember those nights. In fact, some of the times we're going back and forth talking about the funniest stories we have, and they're coming from these nights where for about 45 minutes to an hour, we talked about the Lord, we talked about stuff like that, but the rest of the time, we just hung out. And it makes me think of the gift that our parents gave us growing up. They gave us the gift of growing up in church, but even more than that, they gave us the gift of like who we specifically grew up around. And my parents, their friends from when I was a kid are still their friends now. It is the Manny and Laura Paulas, it's the David and Maury Martinez, the Armando and Anna Gomez, the Jackie and Jonathan Roman, and so, not so many more, but a few more. And it's kind of like their life small group. And all of my memories as a kid are with those people. I mean, my youth pastor, my entire life is still in my life. His wife, who was like that youth pastor wife that poured into me, that, was excited, whatever, to see the couple operating in youth ministry, and I was the worship leader. It was exciting. They're still in my life. And so when we say we want to, look at the service environment and say, that's good, but doing life together is way better, especially when we have the Sunday morning where all of us are serving, where all of our teams are basically putting on Sunday mornings. I joke that our worship team is like Alan Paul and then a bunch of young adults. Like, you get the young adult service environment on Sunday mornings. And if people aren't coming and joining us on Sundays, it's like we can't rob them of church with Armando and Anna, with that generation of people, because that's church, not one age group, but all of us. So it's like we have the service environment where the young adults are. Now let's go do life together. Because let's be honest, man, life is busy. Life is busy. And to ask people to come on Sundays, come on Mondays, and be in a connect group while all figuring out the rest of their life. We're 10 weeks into marriage and it's like there's no free time. That's hard. So to say, hey, we're not ending something, we're reshuffling the deck to make sure we get the best out of our time. And so we're saying, hey, let's go have a connect group at Miss Cheesiest and hang out outside and connect with people. Let's do a baking connect group, a running connect group. Let's play basketball together. Let's do those things. Let's reshuffle the deck and really be intentional about relationships.
And even I went to FIU for 5 years, because I had a long college experience. And I remember being on campus, and there were no Christian communities to be with. There was none to join and to talk about God with. That was like completely non-existent. And there were a few, don't get me wrong, there were a few great groups that I got to meet some people at, but it wasn't a weekly thing where it was a community coming from a specific strong church with a strong pastor. You don't get that. It seemed like it was just an island unto itself. And that's not what we are creating. We're not creating a new island of a ministry that's separate from what Metro does and what Pastor Steve and Mary do. That's not it at all. If anything, we are just we're on the island, but we're trying to strengthen those connections that are already on the island with all of us spread across 5 different ministries on a Sunday morning. And I remember when I was at FIU, I would find so much relief in coming on Monday nights and meeting college kids who also went to FIU, but because of such a huge campus, I wasn't able to meet them. I would meet them and it was like, oh, this is great. I'll see you at school tomorrow, because we met here in the church and then we were able to do life with each other at school because we met each other at church and because we started the relationship here. The same thing happened with the UM athletes, UM students, the
FIU
athletes,
the Nikos.
Yes, the same thing happened with them, where we came to the Rock, which was our church. This was our meeting place, and the relationships were strengthened here underneath pastors that sowed into us and poured into us, and then we were commissioned to go out into the world and to bring more people back. Yeah. So I think that, again, this just narrows down that mission. Exactly.
And I love that because I remember from being part of that Connect group, I met new young adult girls, but also older women that I never realized I really needed.
You're so right.
Like, I would see Myra D'Andrino's on a Sunday, and I would be a little intimidated to talk to her because she's been here for a long time.
Yeah. She
serves, she's strong, she's one of our main people. And I would see her and I never talked to her. And I had been coming here for like 4 or 5 years and I had never spoken to her. So when I joined her Connect group, it was actually all young adult girls and she was the lead of it. She says, I did this because I wanted the older woman and the younger woman to meet and connect, because I realized that I saw so many young women and I was so impressed by all of you, and we really thought that you guys didn't need us. And we all looked at her, I'm like, Myra, we need you so much.
Yeah.
And at that moment we realized, wow, even the older and younger generation, we needed to meet. And as young adults, we need that older generation. And I never realized my sisters and I needed them so much, because they were there through our hard times. We had safe places to go and just talk about what we were going through.
Yep.
And to know that they had already been through it, they have already counseled other girls in it, we realized, okay, we're not alone. It was just great. And that made our place here at Metro way more secured.
Yeah.
Because we were like, okay, we're one big family.
Yeah.
And it is secure because you've got kind of the older and even some of the younger
That's true.
holding on. You know, one of the chapters that people love the most from my book is the involvement increases commitment. When you get involved, people respond with commitment. Well, the truth is, we're doing this because we just want to get more involved in people's lives.
Yeah.
And we want to show them that we are committed to them. And we believe that by doing this, you know, by taking some of the leaders who may have been leading hospitality, or maybe they were leading, the ushers. Now we're saying, hey, go actually disciple people. Like, take what you know and really try to pour into them, which means be a better disciple, because I can't disciple you if I'm not being discipled.
Yeah.
If I'm not growing, I can't help anyone else grow. So it's actually like, let's just all become more committed to this thing by getting more involved in it together. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing it. It's because we're looking at the people in the seats. And Stephanie and I have been doing this a very long time. From the family perspective, you've been doing this just as long when it comes to just being a member and a volunteer, being a leader. I mean, her leadership skills blow my mind, especially when we talk about it. So we all already know that if somebody comes to church and they don't really meet their people, they're not lasting much longer than 3 months. They're not.
Yeah.
And I just don't know the value that 12 services can do for somebody. 3 months of week-to-week services. I don't really see how that's going to really make a lasting impression on people.
Yeah.
But if you get into a group of 10 people, and you're in that room with them 12 times, if that's all we ever get with them, is just that night, just 12 times, but where your name is known, your story is told, you hear other people's stories. You're not hearing the pastor promise he's going to preach for 30 minutes and actually go 45. Forgive me. You know, you're not just hearing my stories. You're not just hearing that, but you're actually hearing from the other people who are just like you. One of the most amazing things to be told ever is that's normal.
Yeah.
That vibe, that feeling you get of like, oh my God, thank God. That's what the Connect groups bring, and sharing all of that and growing and striving together. If all we get is 3 months with somebody, that's a better use of their 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Or actually getting to talk to you because the boys are playing football, some of the girls are getting ready for, you know, their own game, but on the side we've got girls talking for 30, 40 more minutes. That's way more beneficial than the 5 minutes we get to have with some of our people during the coffee mix.
Yeah.
Or the 2 or 3 minutes that we get while we're at the end of the service. But whenever people try to talk to me, there's like 90 other people wanting to come and pull my attention. So this is just going to help us get more involved.
Yeah.
Show that we're more committed. And if the people of God are showing that they're more committed, it's only proving to everyone else that God is more committed to them than they even realize. So we really do feel like this is the way to go. Yeah. This is the right way. And I appreciate you ladies, my wife, my sister, future wife.
Well, it's someone else.
A future wife. A future wife. I said my wife, a future wife. Whatever.
You said it.
That's the best way to end the video. I'm glad we were able to talk. Yeah. This has been great.
Awesome.